Welcome back to the SEMA 3 video tutorials part 5. In this video we will be exploring the participants tab, including looking at participants graphs and compliance. We will also be exploring the responses tab, including how to view responses, how to export data, and also viewing the exported data. In the participants tab of SEMA, you will be able to view the participants' data through a graph, and you can also view their compliance. So once participants have started completing surveys, you can see their individual responses in a chart or graph format, just like below here, for example. So this is the question, how happy do you feel right now? From the scale of 0 to 100, not at all happy, to very happy. You will also be able to view their compliance rate. So this is the percentage of how many surveys they have completed out of how many they have received so far, and also their last sync and uploaded times. So in other words, when they have last uploaded a survey response and how long it has been since they have refreshed the app. So just as an example here down below, participants are also able to view their own response graphs. So this can be activated at any time by making the participants charts preview active. So this is what we went through in a previous video. You'll need to edit the participant status and change their charts preview to active in order for them to see their own graphs. Once the participant's chart has been active, participants can follow the steps in the app in order to see their chart. So I'll show you a video of that in a second. Just note, to ensure the participant's data is confidential, only they can view it, participants will have to enter in their email address to receive a code in order to view their data. So this video on the right here, to view their data, you just click on the title of the program and then they'll see Charts Preview. So again, this is only when Charts Preview is now activated. If you click there, the participant will be prompted to enter in their email address. You might need to unselect Skip Sending Code to Email. Once they've done this, they'll be sent a code and they can pop in that code and then they'll be able to view their data online. Just some notes and tips here as well. The first one is not all question types are actually available to view on the participant graphs. Only slider and choice questions will be available to view in graph form. Long upload and sync intervals can also mean that the participant hasn't refreshed the app in a while. So it's good to just sort of keep an eye on these. If you notice that it's been quite a while since the participant has uploaded or synced, this might be an indicator to get in touch and check in with that participant. And if the participant's email address is not working for viewing their chart, for example, if they've changed email addresses, you can update this email address within the participants tab. Alternatively, you do have access to the code to view this graph, so you can also just send through the code to the participant as well. Okay, so to demonstrate what we just talked about in the last slide, you'll need to just go into the participants tab of SEMA. You'll notice the participant's ID, their compliance, so 4 out of 7, 57%. This is me as a participant, so I've just set my charts to active. The uploaded and sync times, as mentioned, so uploaded is when they've last completed a survey, and synced is when they've last refreshed the app. If you click on the participant ID now, this is where you'll be able to view their graph. So this is the graph here. So this is for the question, how happy do you feel right now? If you hover over, you'll be able to see exactly what those data points are and at what time they were completed. You can change the question by pressing just up here. So you can change it to sad, for example. So how sad do you feel right now? You'll notice in the right-hand side here, it's got the schedule for the next 20 events. So this is the participant's individual survey schedule. So that gives you the times of exactly when their next 20 surveys are coming. If you scroll down here, this is the compliance section. So it's split into two different sections, scheduled surveys and participant triggered or ad hoc surveys. So you'll notice that I've completed 1 out of 4 scheduled surveys and 3 participant triggered or ad hoc surveys, which totals to 4 out of 7. If you scroll back up, so this is the code here that I mentioned in the last slide. This is the code that you can send to the participant if they're unable to view their graph online themselves. Or alternatively, you can update their email just by pressing just there. Now that you've started collecting some data for your program, you'll be able to view the Responses tab. So in the Responses tab, you will be able to view individual participant responses. You will also be able to customize what data you would like to view and export, including which surveys, which participants, and which program versions you would like to view and export. You can also customize how you would like to code 2 different types of missing SEMA data. So this missing data, the first one is called a no response type of data. So this type of missing response indicates that some questions or a whole survey was not completed by the participant. For example, they might have missed the survey or it expired. So this will be one type of missing responses within the data. The second type is called not shown data. So this type of missing response indicates any questions that were systematically not shown to the participant. So for example, if the participant doesn't choose any options that are linked to conditional branching, the branching questions therefore are not shown to the participants. So this is another type of missing data that you can code for before you export. Exported SEMA data also includes survey metadata, such as the survey schedule time, the starting time, the completed time, the expiry time, the total response time for the entire surveys. So this is the response in milliseconds of how long it took the participant to complete the entire survey, and the response time for individual questions in the survey as well. So I've just got an example here from the CSV file that you'll receive when you export your data. Just some notes and tips here as well. The first one is the Responses tab will also show you whether a response is fully completed, partially completed, pending, or not started. And finally, when first viewing your exported data, it might not be sorted according to the participant ID. So you may have to manually sort this data by participant ID and scheduled or start time in order to best view this data, or you can then transfer this data to a different program for analyses. To explore the Responses tab, you'll just need to click on the left here where it says Responses. Now this is just my data, so it's obviously fake data just for the purpose of this example. So this is the Responses tab here. Every row is an individual response. On the left here, you'll notice that this particular response is a ad hoc or participant triggered, and this one here with the circle icon is a scheduled. If you click just here now, you'll be able to view this participant's response. So this is my responses. You'll see the reaction time, so that's how long in milliseconds it took for each question, the value, and the tags. So these tags will be the variable labels once we export data. As mentioned in the last slide, you'll be able to customize how you want to view or export this data. So you can click just these boxes here to do that. There's only one participant in this study, it's just me, so this will make a bit more sense when there's more participants and more data. The no response here, I'm just going to write in missed. So this is coding for no response, as I mentioned in the last slide. And not shown, so this is any data that wasn't shown systematically because the participant, for example, didn't go down a conditional branching path. I'm just going to call this -999. If you're happy with everything and you're ready to export, just click the export button just there. This might take a few seconds depending on how much data you have in your study. And once it's done, you'll see just at the bottom left, it's downloaded a CSV file with your data. If you click there, this is what the file looks like. I've just highlighted some of the more important variables here as well. First one is your participant ID. We've also got participant time zone, study ID, study version, survey ID, trigger. So this is whether it's scheduled or ad hoc or participant triggered. Export, created. So these ones I've highlighted: scheduled, started, completed, and expired is that survey metadata I explained in the last slide. So that's when the survey started, when it was completed, when it expired. If the survey was missed, it'll only show the expired tab. We also have the uploaded and total reaction time columns. Again, total reaction time is the time in milliseconds it took for the participant to complete the entire survey. And now we've got the variables. So these are the variables for how sad do you feel. Sad to was that conditional branching why are you feeling sad question. After each variable, you have the reaction times it took for each variable. Missed is what I've coded for that no response missing data. So these surveys were missed. And 999 was that not shown missing response. So these particular surveys, this variable was not shown because I didn't include options that led down that conditional path. And there you have it. So that's the exported data for SEMA 3. In the next video, we will talk about the Admins tab, the Version History tab, and the Settings tab.